Hey, welcome to Blackbird Tactical. Our whole point of this channel is just to educate, empower, and to equip our community through firearms safety and self-defense. Today's video is all about the first time at the gun range. What we're going to be talking about is what you should bring. We're going to touch on a little bit of range etiquette. We're going to give you guys some tips and tricks to fit in a little bit better, as well as what the typical walkthrough when going to a range. We're going to also break it down to indoor and outdoor ranges, because those are the two type of ranges that they have. But let's be honest, many of us in the Black community, we haven't always had open access to firearm education, and without the fear and the stigma. And that's why we make videos like this. That's why we talk about things like this. But we're going to jump right into it. So the first thing you're going to need to know is, what do you need to bring to the range? First thing you're going to need to bring is your government ID. There's no way around it. That's what you're going to have to bring. Everybody who goes to the range is going to have either a government ID, not a government, yeah, government issued ID, or be sponsored by somebody who is. So like if you take your kids or something, then they have to be sponsored by an adult because they don't have one. But we're moving on past that. So again, you're going to need to make sure you have a valid ID. You're going to need to make sure that you wear the proper attire for the range. I cannot stress this enough. You can't go to the range with tank tops. You can't go to the range with flip-flops. You can't go to them with sandals. You got to make sure you wear real closed-toe shoes. You have to make sure that you wear at least a t-shirt at the bare minimum, just to make sure that everything is covered. And the reason for this being is hot brass is not nice to the skin. It's not nice to the skin. And we want to make sure that we protect ourselves as much as possible. And that's how we do that. The video, previous video, you guys would have seen me packing the range day bag. We're going to run through what's in the bag real quick. But you may not, if you don't have weapons, you're just going to the range and you're going to borrow their weapons, you may not have all the stuff, but this is the stuff that you need to have. So again, you need to make sure that you have your weapons. Weapons are in here. You need to make sure that you have your ears and your eyes, as well as your ammo and your magazines, as well as a first aid kit. I just think it's important to keep a first aid kit because you never know what may happen. I just think that that's important. One of the things that set aside a novice gun owner versus a newbie gun owner is investing in the stuff that's needed. And that's why, a range bag is important, because it lets people know, like, hey, listen, I'm really serious about this. I've invested time, or I'm willing to invest time and invest money into this. And also it keeps your weapon safe, because you can't just walk in there with a weapon in your hand or in your pocket. That's foolish. But again, eyes and ears are the best way to show people, in range bag equipment and stuff, is the best way to show people that you're really serious about getting into, gun owning and shooting and things of that nature. I bought these off of Amazon. These were really, really good. I think I spent like $15. No, I take that back. I spent $25 for two. I got this one and a blue one. One for me and one for my oldest. My youngest already had some, so we didn't have to worry about him. Next, you need to make sure that you guys have eye protection. I wear my glasses when I go to the range, so I don't necessarily need these, but I take these just in case, because some days I don't wear my glasses, like today. So again, as I said, it's very important that you guys have eyes and ears, just because it lets people know, again, that you're really serious about this. It's not something that you just jumped into. So to give you an equivalent, it's like how hoopers understand that you don't wear your real court shoes in the street. See what I'm saying? It's little things that separate the real hoopers or the real people from the people who play and do the activities. And that's what's important by having the range bag, having your eyes and ears. I also want to let you guys know, please make sure that you guys bring your own ammo. If you already have your weapon and stuff, or even if you don't, if you know what type of weapon or what caliber of weapon you're going to be shooting. And the reason being is you can go online and get a 50 box of bullets for like $10 at the cheapest. Whereas if you go to the range, they're going to charge you anywhere from $15 to $20 for a box of 50. So you see, like that's almost double in some cases. So that's very, very important. I just want to help you guys out. Targets, that's not as important. In theory, you can get like a box, I think it's like 150 for like 20 some dollars, but you can also buy them for like $1 and some change at the range. Just buy it at the range. Next thing we're going to talk about is just range etiquette. One of the big things about range etiquette is understanding the 4 cardinal principles, or the 4 important rules. You got to treat every firearm as if it's loaded. You got to make sure that you don't put your finger on the trigger until you are ready to shoot. That is very, very important. Everybody will go nuts if you do not do that. Next thing is make sure you only point your weapon down range at all times. Just because if you don't want to flag it to the left, you don't want to flag it to the right, or you don't want to flag it back behind you, because in theory at any time somebody could get shot. So we don't want to do that. We always want to make sure we take our weapons and they're facing forward down the range. Next thing you need to know is just make sure that we are paying attention to the range commands. If you are in an indoor facility, the person who's the range commander or the range officer might be on the other side of the glass. Just make sure you're paying attention if they're tapping and they're trying to talk to you. Now that sounds a little bit weird when you have on ear protecting, but they'll be banging on the window. Also, if you're outside the range, person is going to be walking around. Just make sure you're looking at him from time to time. Make sure you're listening to make sure if he says cease fire or hold your fire or anything like that. And just make sure you guys are respectful. And by respectful, I mean, you make sure you keep your area clean. You stay in your area. You don't go to touch other people's firearms or other people's area, because again, that's their firearms. That's their area. That's pretty much it for the range etiquette. Now we're going to go through the walkthrough. So when you get in there, again, the first thing you're going to do is give them your ID. If you have your weapons and stuff, you're going to kind of casually look over them like, oh, okay. And if you're going to be, using ammo, some places be like, hey, what kind of ammo you got? Let me see. Some places don't care because, you're using your weapon. So after you do that, after they look at all of that, they're going to tell you like, hey, listen, we need you to fill out this form. One or two things are going to happen. Either they have a form and a waiver that you have to sign. They may have a little extra reading excerpt that tells you, the range rules, things that'll get you kicked out, things that, they just don't tolerate. Or they might have you watch a video that incorporates all of that. You still have to sign the waiver, but they may have you watch a video. It just depends. Some of the places I went in Florida, actually, they make you sit down and watch like a 30-minute video before you shoot. And again, it just depends. And they want to make sure that you sign that waiver at least once a year or something like that. So if you haven't been in the calendar year, they're going to make you do it or whatever. After you do that, they're going to assign you to a range. If it's an indoor, they'll be like, hey, listen, you're going to go to lane, what's his face? Do you need any targets? Do you make sure you have all your ammo? They're going to make sure you have all the stuff that you need. Then they're going to tell you to get down there. Again, this is why it's important to make sure you have like a range bag and stuff. So when you set your stuff up, you don't walk through everywhere, just with your guns out. Oh, first thing I forgot is if it is an indoor range, one of the biggest rules that they have is, so typically there's going to be, 3 chambers. The first one is where you guys are at the counter, and then there's a door. And then there's like another there's like a room that's in the middle that's nothing's there. Like there might be a poster or something, but that's it. But there's a rule. Once you open this door, you don't open the second door until the first door closes. And that's just simply because, again, people are shooting, and especially when you're indoor range, like everything is loud, and you don't want that to magnify all over the whole store. So again, if you're going to an indoor range, there's going to be like almost like a vestibule area where you don't open that door until you see the other one is closed. You walk in, you wait till that door closes, and then you open that one, and then you walk to whatever lane you're going to go to. Some places assign them, some places let you pick. Again, that's case by case scenario. Again, once you get there, you're going to take all your guns. You're only going to set up your guns in your lane, in your area. I know some of them have back tables where you can set extra weapons and stuff like that. But again, in your lane is only where you open your weapons and stuff. You keep everything locked up and closed up until you get it there. Once you get it in your lane, you're going to take your targets, you're going to hang them up. Most places by now are electronic. Their lines are on the targets on an electronic line. So you'll pick the destination the distance that you want. So you'll be like 5 yards, enter, go. So it'll fly off 5 yards, and it really does fly. It goes or whatever until it gets to where it needs to be, wherever you predetermine it, and then you make sure you shoot, then you bring it back. Same difference. Again, when they tell you to stop, you stop. That's pretty much it. For the outside, it's pretty much the same rules. It's a little bit different because you have a range guy who's walking during the whole time. But when it's outside, typically you set up the target yourself. So if it's an outdoor range and you set up the target yourself, when it's time for you to get everything unpacked and you start setting, you get ready to set up your targets, they're going to be like, hey, listen, firearms down. And at that time, everyone on the range, they're going to say like ceasefire. So everybody's going to stop. Everybody's going to put their firearms down. They're going to not even have them in their hands. They're going to be in the table facing the barrel facing this way towards, sorry, not Hail and Hitler, with the barrel going this way towards down the range. And during that time, it is going to allow whoever it is to put up their targets and come back. Hopefully, if you have considerate people at the range, they're going to all try to kind of time it somewhat similar. So it's not a whole bunch of stop and go or whatever. It's very important to make sure that you clean up your brass behind yourself as much as you can. Anything that's on the past the bench, if you're outside, they tell, well, places I've been to, they tell you don't worry about it. If you're on the inside, they tell you don't worry about it. I typically will take the little squeegee and get everything that I can get, because again, I'm still back behind the line. Only the squeegee is in front of the line. So if somebody shoots the squeegee, that's on them. But nobody should have a gun in their hand anyways. But anyways, moving on. So you take the squeegee and you make sure you collect all your brass and you put it in the bucket. That's just, again, just range etiquette. It's just really, really important to understand that, you have a right to be there too. And it can be a little intimidating getting into something that, people seem to be experts at and you are not. But again, how you're going to get over that, and the tips is, first, you got to be cool. You got to understand that this is a learning process and that you're doing what you can to become better. Second thing, if you have any questions, ask. Ask the range master or the person in charge of the range. Ask the people in the front of the counter. If it's safe to do so, ask the people who to your left and to your right. Like, hey, listen, I have questions about this, da-da-da-da. But again, how I got comfortable was I chatted up the range officer. And, he just told me like different tips, what people do. He gave me some pointers on shooting, good times to come in, da-da-da-da, like a whole bunch of stuff. But again, the whole purpose of why you're there is to focus on the fundamentals. Make sure you get a good grip. Make sure you have a good stance. Make sure you focus on your breathing. Also, a big thing is, make sure that you shoot with this part of your finger, the first part of the digit. I know a lot of people try to do all of this. No, you just want that little bit right there. And you make sure you're focusing on that. But again, that's why we're here. Black Barrel Tactical exists, pretty much to break down these barriers and build confidence with gun owners who look like us. And we want to give our people a sense of power and knowledge and kind of help just protect themselves legally and safely and responsibly. And so again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If this video has been good to you, if you felt like you've learned something, please make sure you guys follow us. Please make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, so the next time we drop a video or we drop some knowledge, you guys can partake in it. Also, make sure you guys share this with your friends. At some point, we're going to get a little bit more advanced. I really do got a dope logo that I want to share with you guys, but I haven't just, dove into all of the fundamentals of like editing and all that stuff like that. So, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You make sure you guys stay safe out there, and y'all have a good day.